Hi guys, welcome back to Casually Crafted. My name is Ashley and this is Crafty Chat number 19 and maybe also number 20. We'll see how this goes depending on how long it is. I might break it up into two videos. I think I'm going to start with finished objects. These first ones are part of the crochet alongs I'm doing, so they're partially finished. They're finished for the month but not like the year, whatever, you know what I mean. So the first one is the Birthstone Mal by Judy from Witch Piece Craft. Sorry, I thought I heard children waking up. So I have February's and March. So February is Amethyst. And so my project for this is I'm making a baby like sensory book. So each page is a different like textured stitch. And it's just a square. And for some reason I left a really long thing. Okay, so this is the February's, so dark purple. This is just a mainstay purple that I had in my stash, and it's just front post, back post, all the way across, double crochets. And then for March, I had a hard time picking out of my stash which color I wanted to do for the aquamarine color. But I happened to be using some of this Red Heart Ombre in the deep teal color, and I was in like the lighter part of it, and I thought that worked perfect for the deep teal, or for the aquamarine. So this is the Waffle Stitch. So I technically started at the bottom here, and then it got a little darker as I went. So in general, I'm trying to stick to solids for this project, but I figured this was not a huge, it's not like variegated or too busy or anything. So it was better than anything else I had in my stash, I think, to fit that color. So that's that. And then my other crochet along that I'm doing, that I've actually started on, is my Jada and Stitches Mile a Minute. So I showed you, I think, the mostly finished January. So here's January, light blue and white for like winter snowflakey theme. And then February I did pink and red. So here's that. So just a red in the middle, and this is a bright pink. And these are all probably Red Heart Super Saver. I didn't weave in any ends, obviously. And these are all pretty old too. I got most of my first stash at like a estate sale. So they were probably old when I got them, and that was a few years ago. So no idea the colors on most of these. So there's that one. And then for March, I did green for St. Patrick's Day. So I did just a regular green on the outside and this brightish green, or inside, and this brightish green on the outside. Which, if I was thinking ahead, I might have switched those around because I'm going to do a watermelon themed one for August, I think. And I'm going to use this bright green again on the outside. And I was trying not to have any of the same colors on the outside or the inside, like switch it back and forth if I could. But oh well. This one took me a long time to do, not because it was hard, but just because this green was a lot thicker. You know how some yards, even though they're the same, like different colors or stiffer than others, and it just wasn't fun to work with. So I actually literally just finished this before coming down here a little bit ago. Yeah, it just wasn't speaking to me, but that's okay. So those are my crochet alongs. I am gonna do the towel toppers with Pamela's Adoring Crochet, but I talked about how I was having a hard time finding towels, but I will get to that a little bit later. Other finished objects is I made another, I think I talked about this in the last one, but I don't know if I had started it or not. I made another bramble basket with the Lion Brand ice cream cotton blend, and I have an issue with the name of this color. They called it chocolate. I'm sorry, but does this look chocolate to you? to me, chocolate is dark brown. Obviously it's a variegated, but I would like more dark brown. To me, this is caramel or caramel cream or something, if you need to make it a food name. I mean, I still like it, but I really wished it would have been a little bit darker. So this was my fourth one I made, has inspired another project that I will show here in a minute, using kind of the same stitch pattern, but we'll get to that. I keep getting ahead of myself. So the final, not final finished object, almost final finished object is I finished my brown and gray scrap blanket. That's the word, scrap blanket, that I had started almost a year, or over a year ago now, but it took me almost a year to finish. And I don't think I'll be able to show it all because it's huge. I mean, not huge, but it's big. So it's just a granny rectangle. And the inspiration to start it was this red heart sachet that like you crochet the scarves with. Yeah, so I kind of cut it up and then crocheted it like normal, not using like the chain spaces or whatever. The last time I showed you, I couldn't decide if I wanted to end where I was because I ran out of that sachet yarn, or to continue because I wanted it bigger. So I did decide to continue. What I ended up doing was, so you can see that every color has like 2 rows, so 2 dark brown, 2 gray, 2 cream or tan, and then 2 light brown, 2 gray, so on, and then 2 of the sachet. So what I ended up doing on the rounds that, oh, it's heavy, the sachet ran out, I just finished in brown. So instead of 4 rows, I hope I'm making sense, instead of 4 rows being, if I could find a better section here. So normally there would be 2 rows of this and then 2 rows of this. So where I ran out of this, in this middle row somewhere, as I just attached the brown. So instead of 4 rows, it became 3. And I figure you're going to be sitting on the couch using it. Nobody's really going to notice that you don't have 2 rows of this. Or in some sections, there's only 1 row of brown because there's 2 rows of this. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, so then I continued. I was running out of a whole lot of things. And then I decided to end in brown. In the very last, I just did single crochets all the way around, instead of another granny, whatever. So there's that. Maybe I'll take a picture. I don't know if I've taken a picture of it yet. Maybe if I remember, I'll take a picture and insert it here before I post it. But yeah, it's just been sitting on our couch. It's nice and heavy, kind of like a weighted blanket, because I did 2 to 3 strands, unless it was like a really bulky yarn. I did 2 to 3 strands held together to get all that. So there's that. So okay, final finished object is the baby blessing christening dress. So I have notes because otherwise I forget everything that I want to say. So I'll show you and then talk about it. I have it on a little hanger. Okay, so here it is. And this is a headband that I made up, and we'll talk about that. And then here's the back. And you can see the bottom edging a little bit better there. Okay, so this pattern is by Crochet Garden. It's the Tiny Blossoms, that's all I wrote, tiny, but I think it's Tiny Blossoms Christening Gown, I think is what it's called. She has a Ravelry and also her own website. And I bought this pattern over the summer. I think it's normally like $7 or $8, but on her website it was half off at the time. So I was pretty excited about that. So the yarn is Premier Cotton Fair in just the color white. And her pattern calls for a fingering weight, so a 1 weight. Cotton Fair is a 2 weight. So when I first started, I did like the gauge swatch or whatever like they recommend. And you're supposed to use a hook, an E-hook. And I wanted to do the 3 to 6 month size because my daughter was she was going to be just over 3 months old. And she wasn't like tiny at birth, so I figured 3 to 6 months would be the best size to do. So when I did the gauge swatch, it was pretty much exactly the right measurements using the E-hook, but I think I was just partly paranoid that it was going to be too small for some reason, and because it was a 2 weight instead of a 1 weight, I decided to go up to a size F. I just liked the look of it better, also like the drapiness. So yes, so I ended up needing more yarn. And I think when I don't have written down how many yards she called for, but I used more than what she called for, and I don't know if that's because of the different yarn weight made a difference. But luckily, I mean, I ordered these off of Hirschner's, and no stores around me carry them. But luckily, my mom lives next to a Michael's that was carrying them. And so I ordered one to have her pick up and bring because she was coming for the blessing. So I did make some adjustments. Because I knew I was running out of yarn, this edging down here, hopefully you can kind of see, it's kind of the same all throughout. It's blowing out, sorry. And then down here, like the flower pattern gets bigger, like there's more petals. There's 3, and then it goes to 4, and I think somewhere down here it goes to 5. So somewhere in there you're supposed to repeat like rows 2 through 5 twice. I just did it once because I was running out and I figured it was plenty long. So even though I left 3 rows out, still ran out. And then, so the sleeves, you're supposed to do a large picot, which is a chain 6 instead of a chain 3, and I just didn't like the look of that, so I did just a regular picot on the edges of that. So just a chain 3, and then you slip stitch back into that first chain. And then on the neck, you were also supposed to do picots, just regular picots on the neck. And for some reason I wasn't liking that either, so I just did this pattern but in reverse, which is just single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So I just did that in each space around the top. So there's a little bit of texture, but it's not as pointy. I felt like the picot was a little pointy. Yeah, so it was a little large on her. I probably, since I did go up a hook size and a yarn size, I probably could have gotten away doing the newborn size or the 0 to 3 month size, whatever they want to call it. But it was okay. I don't have like a super great picture of her just wearing it. I have lots of pictures of like people holding her with it, but maybe I'll post one in here. I try not to post too many things of my kids, but also I do have an Instagram that I post to a lot more than making videos. So if you follow me on that, you'll already have actually seen the dress by itself. And then every once in a while I will post pictures of the kids wearing stuff, but still not very often. Okay, so the headband, I made this up on my own. The flower, but I did kind of like use stitches that were in the pattern to like inspire it, I guess. So in the pattern there's a lot of triple crochets to make the little flower petals. So that's basically all this is these are triple crochets together like a cluster, and then some chains, and then a cluster again, and then I just made this all in a magic circle to make 5 little petals. And then this button matches the buttons on the back of the dress. The headband part is just single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, just back and forth all the way around until it was big enough. That's not going to focus with it. And I did make it a little large, I think, because it's a little stretchy. But I mean, she was kind of in my lap when I started working on it, and so I kind of measured her head, but then I put her to bed, and yeah. But that's okay. So she still looks super cute. It was a good day. We got to see family, and I'm glad I'm done with it, basically, because my parents came up the day before, and really all I needed to finish was the edging. So I had the neck edging, I think, was the only thing I needed to really finish when I ran out of yarn, and then I wouldn't have been able to make a headband from running out of yarn also. So I didn't need a ton of extra, so now I have almost a whole ball of white Premier Cotton Fair that I have no idea what I'm going to do with. But yeah, so that's that. Here, I mean, I don't know if you can see, here's kind of a picture. I didn't print off the main picture of the pattern, but that's the picture of the back. So you can see how it looks lacier at the bottom because of the larger flowers. And then there's 2 buttons in the back. So, yeah. And of course she spit up all over it, so hopefully there wasn't any like gross looking spots on that, as I showed you. Okay, so that, I hope, is all my finished objects. So, but yeah, thanks for watching again, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys!